Hello there, and welcome to the Gamer Idea Foundry. Yes, this is the example, but I also have to give you the title of the segment so that people know what they're getting into. And I think Gamer Idea Foundry is pretty much perfect for it. I mean, call it what you will, but it feels right to me. And I'm Andre of GVGINU. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening. Um, This is going to be the example. I was going to just do a regular recording and put it up, but then I thought, why not just live broadcast it? It's going to be there anyway, and people will see it when they see it. So that's what I'm doing. Anyhow, thank you for listening in. I'm going to run you through one of my own video game ideas. The title of the idea is Maverick Hunter Heat. Now, I know practically no one knows who Heat is. This character that I came up with for the Mega Man X series. That's who Heat is. He originally was a palette swap for Zero, and I did some light editing to sprites and made him some additional attacks that Zero didn't necessarily have, which kind of was to set him apart. My brother and I are actually working on redesigning the character. If you ever want to see it, you gotta go to deviantart.com. Look for Blood Panther, BLOODPANTHA. I'll put the link in the description. That way is there. Once this is up, I'll definitely edit it and put it in there in the description. But yeah, Heat was. I'll give you the backstory on the character, the idea of how I came up with him. Heat initially is meant to be, and this will be spoilers for people who have never played the Mega Man X series, though I doubt there are very few people who haven't. But Heat was supposed to be a prototype battle body for Sigma when he took over Dr. Doppler's lab in his mind in Mega Man X3. Heat essentially was a prototype battle body that was meant to take data of different Reploids and put them all into this one body so that Sigma could use it. But that didn't really get to happen like I said, as a prototype. It never got completed. So, moving a little further along, after Doppler came to his senses after fighting X, he encoded an anti-Maverick anti-Maverick virus coding in Heat's circuitry and gave him the prototype personality that he was working on before Sigma corrupted his systems. So that's kind of Heat's backstory, and then sometime down the line where you get into gameplay, and this would be an action RPG. It will play. My mind is to have it play and feel like a normal Mega Man X game, but with level ups and things like that, but in 32-bit style. But I'm digressing away. Heat was long since forgotten after the laboratory went under, like it was pretty much buried. He was buried. Sigma decided he could go back and find that prototype battle body because he had been getting chased down by X, Zero, and Axel for the longest time. And he finally happens upon the capsule that Heat was stored in that Doppler tried his best to hide away because he didn't want the character to be found. So he literally goes and opens the capsule and he activates. Sorry, my son had a question he wanted to ask me and just told him to hold off for me for a minute. But yeah, Heat activated, which took Sigma by surprise because he didn't think that there was a mind installed in the body. Sorry, I've got myself tongue-tied, so I thought I might have said that the wrong way. But Heat activates, and being that he is naive to what has happened in the whole Mega Man X world so far. Aaliyah, hold on one second, folks. I apologize for that. Sorry, kids are going to be kids, and this is early morning. This is usually their time to reign. But I'm sitting here. I got caught up. Heat activates. He's questioning his surroundings, just wondering what's going on. So he's trying to see who Sigma is. In his mind, he doesn't know who anyone is yet. Sigma then goes to deceive him, make him believe that he's being hunted down by Mavericks and that he was in a state of disrepair, and he was just trying to find himself a place that he could repair himself when he came across heat. And so would be pretty much the first battle of the game. Would be the first main battle of the game, which I would say will allow you to play with X, Axel, or Zero to fight Heat, who would be trying to defend Sigma. Then you come up to the point where Zero, storyline wise, Zero was the one fighting him. And Zero comes to realize that Heat doesn't even know who he is just yet. Wow, this is not turning out how I wanted it to. Kids got me distracted again, and I didn't know if you could hear them on my microphone behind me, but I could obviously hear them myself, so I had to stop because it was pulling me away from what I was trying to do. But oh, like I said, storyline wise, Zero is fighting him because they both take out their beam sabers, and while Zero could have probably just done away with him, and that would have been it, he came to realize that he hadn't really developed any skills yet. He was literally fresh out of his capsule, so he held back. But Axel and X really tried to go ahead and take on Sigma. Didn't quite work because he ended up getting out of the body that he was in. Like once his body was destroyed, he took on his viral form and tried to corrupt Heat's systems. Whereas now you understand why the anti-Maverick chip was installed in him. The antivirus was installed in him by Dr. Doppler. It pushes Sigma back out of Heat systems. And so Heat does, in turn around, activates the chip without realizing it, and it is a part of his weaponry, and destroys the Sigma virus right then and there. So that's just basically the opening. I mean, there's a lot to it. I remember my ideas spanned for hours, but there's a lot more to it than that. So, and I did this. This is well after all of the games in the X series. The way I have it taking place is literally after Mega Man X Command Mission, which chronologically in the game's storyline is the very last game of the X series. So this takes place after the whole Giga City incident, after the Project Jacob incident in Mega Man X8, after the whole Lumine battle, all of that stuff. It takes place well after that. Whereas, and I know I probably spoiled this for quite a few people, just naming all that stuff. I'm sorry. You'll have to play the games to understand what I'm talking about more fully. But All right, where was I? Sorry, I had to mute Mike again. TV was on and I didn't realize it. um, I was talking about after the Giga City incident. Okay, X is distrustful of Heat after they take him back to HQ and find a message that was left to him in Zero by Dr. Doppler. This still doesn't explain if he is dead or alive or just went missing. He's just at this point an unknown where he may or may not be. Either way, the message clearly states that part of Sigma's coding is in the antivirus, which is what makes it strong enough to combat him. So X, being very distrustful of how things had happened before with betrayals, and you literally have to play through the X series to understand why he would be distrustful of Heat. Because there are examples in other games that would give reason as to why he would be very distrustful of Heat, especially finding out that part of Sigma is within him. So they bring Heat back online, bring him back to consciousness. Axel, being the other young-ish Reploid, decided he wanted to pull off and talk to Heat, whatever. That's just a storyline thing. It just means those two characters wouldn't be usable. Actually, probably have like a lot of text and story going on right here anyhow. But eventually, it boils down to a distress signal happening and leading them back to the site, the original site of the Jacob Project incident. And during this time, they returned. Heat being outdoors for the first time, literally, he's taking in the greenery and everything, just looking around. But he, after having talked to Axel and then having gone over logs, so like this is a while into the story, so I kind of jumped points. He had a feeling, an inkling of a feeling that Axel shouldn't be there. So, but Axel decided he still had to go anyway. So X, Axel, Heat, and Zero all head out. I should have said that before, that you know that they're all four there. And they search the area, find nothing. Just as they're about to all leave, and Axel and Heat are the last two left, a very broken and disrepaired vial appears and grabs a hold of Axel. And from there, I'm not going to tell you too much more. I'm just going to say that Axel gets corrupted, and you have to, at this point, the objective is to rescue him. Like that's one point. That's one objective in the game, is to rescue Axel, which will lead to a broken, disrepaired Heat, which would actually lead up to the redesign of the character. So it's a very ambitious story, I'd say. Like I said, I have it really well thought out. It's hard for me to explain it just off the top of my head here, but I'm giving you pretty much what I can remember right now that I haven't had written anywhere. And I hope that this gives a decent example of how I would like to hear people talk about the game. I want to hear the passion you have for this idea come out. I quite certainly didn't really do it myself with my children around. Otherwise, I'd be yelling and screaming out of excited fanism. And I choose that word intentionally, or create that intentionally. But here's the thing I would like to say. If anyone has checked out Mighty Number 9, you know the Mighty Number 9 Beck, the character that you're supposed to play with in the game, as he changes his body. That was actually where I was leading to with Heat. I mean, it wouldn't be the same level of customization as Beck, but it would be more or less where he has custom armor parts that he can take off and put on during different situations after he has had his upgrade after his quote unquote death. Because I would actually make the character sort of die in the game. More or less a sacrificial type of thing, but that's part of the story, and I don't want to give too much more of the story away. Because I do eventually want to make this fan game. So I don't want to give too much story. Uh, Thank you very much for listening. If anyone is interested in giving an idea, just coming on and talking about their idea, putting their passion behind it, I would love to have you on. Just drop me a message on Google Plus, or like I said before, you can email me on Yahoo at gvginu@yahoo.com. I will definitely take responses there. All I would really need you to do is just be able to tell me something about this game. Give me something that makes me want to go ahead and pick the game up and play it. I mean, I know I didn't really go into the action RPG elements of the game. Obviously, like I said, it would feel like a Mega Man X game as far as how it plays, but you would have a level up system for the abilities that characters earn. Sort of like how Mega Man X Corrupted is by JKB Games. Yeah, and I didn't have the idea come from them. It was actually something I thought about a while ago, but seeing as that that's the direction that game is going, I know it's doable now. So it kind of makes me happy that somebody else has already stepped out there on that frontier and has already taken that step, and that's why I figured action RPG would work. It was either going to be action RPG or straight up RPG. Those were the two I was working with. So I'm happy that, like I said, JKB Games is doing a fan game for Mega Man X, and his is going. There's this stated to be somewhere in the timeline between X4 and X5, or X5 and X6. It's somewhere in that area on the Mega Man X timeline, as far as I know. So my game would clearly have nothing to do with his. But thank you for listening. I hope you could make sense of what I was saying. I mean, I probably didn't explain it as well as I would have liked to. But either way, just the fact that you listened in and you watched, I'm grateful for. So thank you very much for that. And keep your eyes and ears out for more of my stuff. And until the next time, enjoy your games.